Day 11, Vectors. Solve the following word problem, show all of your work, and explain your steps. An airplane flies in the direction of 140 degrees at 250 miles an hour, while the wind blows due south at 26 miles an hour. Find the component form of each force, then find the plane's resultant velocity and direction. Okay, so first, let's just draw this stuff out so we can visualize it. So 140 degrees would be roughly like this. Let's just write 250 like this. And then the wind blows south at 26. So it would be directly at 270 degrees. So let's do 26. And now we're basically trying to find this vector right here. We're trying to find that vector. So first, what we have to do, we have to find the component form of each. And the component is basically looking at the change in x and then the change in y. So basically, in order to find the component form for the first vector, since we know that it's going at 140 degrees, we have to find the sine of 140 degrees and then multiply that times 250 in order to find the change in y. So let's just do it like this. So for our y value, we get roughly 160.7. That's pretty hard to read, but like hopefully you can see it. And then for the x value, we have to do cosine of 140 and then multiply that times 250. And for that one, we get roughly negative 191.5. Negative 191.5. And that's our component form for the airplane. For the wind, since it's directly south, we don't really have to do any calculations. We just have to look at the fact that since it's going down 26 and it's not going left or right in at all, so we know that the x value is going to be 0 and our y value is going to be negative 26, like that. And now we have to look at the velocity. For our velocity, what we're going to have to do is we basically just have to look at this value right here. So basically what we're going to be doing here is we're going to have to use the distance formula. So first what we have to do, we have to add both of these components together so that we can get an actual vector that we can use. So our vector that we're going to end up getting is going to be, we just have to add them together. So negative 191.5 plus 0 is obviously going to be negative 191.5 again. So let's just write that. And then putting it in the calculator, 160.7 plus negative 26 is going to give you roughly 134.7. And now we just have to plug this into the distance formula. So basically what we're going to have to do, we have to do negative 191.5 squared plus 134.7 squared. And then we have to take that value and take the square root of that. So we're going to end up getting roughly 234.1. So our velocity is going to be roughly 234.1. This is miles per hour. And for our direction, this is a little bit more tricky, but it can still be done. Basically what we have here, since we have this vector already and we have our velocity, what we have to do, we basically just have to look at because the tangent, we can use the tangent of an angle to try to find this angle. And as we know, the tangent is just going to be the slope. So what we have to do here, we have to take the change in y, which is 134.7, over the change of x, which is negative 191.5. And then since we know that this is going to be our tangent, what we have to do, we have to take the inverse tangent of this to find the actual angle. And what I ended up getting is negative 35 degrees once I plugged it into the calculator. And obviously negative 35 degrees would be in this direction, but since we know that it's in the opposite direction, we're just going to have to subtract this 35 from 180. So 180 minus this answer, minus this 35.1 answer, is going to give us roughly 144.9. So our direction is roughly 144.9 degrees. And if we look at it, it seems about right. 144 seems believable. And in that case, we are done.